Oh, hello. 2025 was a pretty big year for gaming. Never again are we going to be able to look back at a year and say, oh yeah, that's right, DragX Drive dropped this year, bitch. Some of my favorite games from last year are Donkey Kong Bonanza is easily my favorite. It takes everything that Super Mario Odyssey did and makes it better. Fixes all my flaws with Super Mario Odyssey, which, because I already consider Odyssey a fantastic game, makes Donkey Kong Bonanza damn near flawless from start to finish. I definitely need to go back and 100% that game. I love every second of playing it. If you have a Switch 2 and you don't have Donkey Kong Bonanza, why did you buy a Switch 2? That's a genuine question. Why did you buy a Switch 2 if you weren't going to buy Donkey Kong Bonanza? That makes no sense to me on why you would buy a Switch 2 and not buy the Big Monkey game. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, pretty fun game. I do think that the price is a little steep considering the lack of content, and then to get more content, it is even steeper. To get everything the game has to offer physically is $100 because I got the physical version, meaning that I couldn't do the digital deluxe edition, which is $90, meaning I had to buy the season pass separately, which is $30 on its own. It's this whole shit situation. Mario Kart World's pricing sucks, but like, if we want to talk predatory and like anti-consumer, even though I think that term gets thrown around too much, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds is way worse with just how it does it for how little you end up getting at the end. That said, it is still a very fun kart racer. It's one of the most fun kart racers I've ever played. I definitely prefer it mechanically and all that to Mario Kart World. Also overpriced, don't get me wrong, but I definitely think Mario Kart World is the better value because there's more content, there's the free roam, there's battle mode, there's just more to do in Mario Kart World that makes it closer to being worth $80, even though it still falls way short because it's $80. That's a very high ask for a video game these days. Metroid Prime 4, although not the game I think it needed to be considering the gap between 3 and 4 and how long it's been this ghost looming over Nintendo that's sort of always been an enigma, I definitely still think it's a very fun game start to finish, but when you look at it, which had like an 18-year gap between it and Metroid Prime 3, and you look at Metroid Dread, which also had like a 17-year gap, maybe even 19-year gap between Fusion and Dread, Dread does so much more to like push the series forward. It definitely feels like it has evolved since Fusion. There's so much more. It is undoubtedly, you can't make the argument that it's not a phenomenal game. Prime 4, you could definitely make the argument it's very much just more Prime 3, and then it's, do you prefer the ship, which you're flying around to different planets and areas, or do you prefer the motorcycle? I think both are pretty underwhelming, but I found the ship to be more annoying with how often you would land at the wrong spot on a planet and have to backtrack to your ship and then land on the right spot. At least the motorcycle is just boring and not tedious, I guess. But still, for the most part, I still think it is a very good game, very fun game, very beautiful game. I definitely do recommend it, maybe not at full price, but I definitely enjoyed my time with it. Borderlands 4, kind of flown under the radar, unless we're talking about Randy Pitchford, who was like complaining that people were complaining that his game didn't run well on their computers. I do think it's a fun game. I put like 40 hours into it right away, and then I never touched it again. I got like 2/3 through it. But I did enjoy it. I really enjoyed the time I played. 40 hours I was sitting there with my thumb up my ass. I was playing the game, I was having fun. Definitely not my favorite Borderlands. It's never gonna reach the highs of 2 again, but I definitely think in terms of gameplay, this one does a lot of cool stuff, but I think in terms of the loot, it feels kind of underwhelming. It feels like there are only 4 gun types you'll ever find, and then it's just which one has the better stats. Like there's only like, you'll get a regular sniper, a like goopy sniper with an element on it, or I think that genuinely might be the only 2 things the game considers sniper rifles. It's been a minute since I've played it. I don't remember the other types. I guess maybe there's Tor weapons and then there's like, I think it's Cove, I don't remember. But it feels like they're like, there's only like 4 main manufacturers, the others are all parts. But it feels like if the main manufacturer is Jacobs, it's going to feel the same as every other Jacobs gun, no matter what. And since there's only 4, you get way less variety. But it's still, moment to moment, very fun game, very satisfying game. I like that the gore is back. It's never been a super gory franchise, but the first game, you shot a dude in the arm with a shotgun, his arm came off. This game, you shoot a dude in the head, he explodes into goop. And that's satisfying. I like that. I always like my big sniper guy in Borderlands. There were so many great games last year, so many I didn't even play, so many I didn't talk about. But going into this year, I feel a little more eager than I was going into last year. Maybe it's just because I'm paying attention more and I don't remember what I was looking forward to last year. But I just kind of wanted to go month by month, talk about the games that I'm looking forward to this year and hear what games you're looking forward to. So yeah. Starting, I know it's February. I had a pretty rough January, so I didn't get to make this video sooner. But starting with January, nothing really came out that I was like looking forward to. I mean, I was like a little interested in what would become of High Guard because it kind of got ironically shot in the foot by the Game Awards, but you know, like that's nobody's fault. Jeff Keighley wasn't like, I'm gonna put it at the end and sabotage them. He genuinely did enjoy it. I've heard it's got like a solid base, and if they keep building it could be something good, but I don't know. I'm sure there's a Midgard joke in there somewhere that people have pointed out that the title is synonym for Overwatch, which is funny because Overwatch 2 has since died and is now just Overwatch again. The hero shooter genre, I don't even think High Guard's a hero shooter, but the multiplayer shooter genre in general is in the slums right now. I remember last year going into it, I was excited for Splitgate 2, and then I watched live during Summer Games Fest as all the good faith that team had built up was crushed under the weight of their own bad decisions at every chance they got. And now I'm like, I don't even want to play. I enjoyed the game and the beta and the alpha and all that, and I don't even want to play the fucking game anymore. So I know it relaunched, but yeah, this multiplayer shooter thing's not going so well for the industry. The only game I actually bought in January is this game that was made by an artist I follow on Blue Sky and Instagram, because it was $5 and I just wanted to support them. I do plan on playing it one day, but I mainly bought it when it came out just because, you know, like, hey, let's throw some support, let's throw some cash their way because I'm made of money. By the time this video is out, the full game has probably come out, but there was like a week's time that I was excited for Yakuza Kiwami 3. I love Yakuza 3. I think that game on its own is great, but I do prefer the Kiwami games. I think they're a little more polished. They obviously look better. So, you know, Kiwami 3 and then a whole new story with Mine, one of my favorite villains. I think that's going to be pretty cool. And then it turns out the person that they recasted to play Hamazaki is a piece of shit. And like a known piece of shit, not like this came out after they would have signed all the contracts. He's a known piece of shit. And I thought about it, and, you know, RGG isn't very receptive to Western fans and what they want. I mean, people have been pointing out since Yakuza 0 that, like, there is such a discrepancy in the way that this series treats sexual assault. For example, Yakuza 1, the very first game, the whole point of that story, or the inciting incident of that story that ruins Kiryu's life, is that his boss tried to force himself onto a woman, and that ruined the lives of everyone involved in that situation. It treats it very seriously, like it should. The issue is that you then go to Yakuza 0, and there's the character whose name I don't even know. You do know who I'm talking about, where the whole gimmick is just making weird advances at the characters that they clearly don't want and then touching them, and it's like, so like in the first game it was like, this is a serious thing that we're treating super seriously, that is worthy of being an inciting incident. It gave the person it happened to memory loss because it was so traumatizing. But when it happens to Majima, now it's funny. And people have been complaining about that for years, but then it keeps coming back game after game. People really pointed it out in Infinite Wealth. So yeah, don't know what we expected from these guys, but I was going back and forth in my head of, you know, how much is this really contributing to it? You know, there's probably contracts and stuff. Maybe they won't do it. Maybe they'll see the backlash and be like, well, we signed this contract, but next, we'll definitely know, be better next time. You know, everyone probably has like a game that they've bought knowingly or unknowingly that had a voice actor or developer that was a known piece of shit. It happened. So there was a bit of, this is a thing I wanted for a while. And I still hadn't decided if I was going to buy it or not, because the Yakuza subreddit is dog shit, but you know, I see a lot of the people who are like, God, who cares? And it just makes me feel more in like well, that's important. So I was already leaning towards not buying it, and then the ending leaked, and I could go on for hours about how much I hate the story in any Yakuza game post Yakuza 3. So it's ironic that they took what I consider to be the last like really good story, exception to Yakuza 7. That game had a pretty good story. It's just paced really poorly. But you know, from 3, like they took 3 and then they botched the story by ruining the ending, and it's just any confliction that maybe was like, but it's Yakuza, like that's your thing, you buy Yakuza. The very last sparks of that completely fucking died out, and now my day is open to play Mario Tennis Fever instead.
The real February game I'm looking forward to is obviously Resident Evil Requiem. I'm a huge Resident Evil fan, and the more they show off this game, the more I want to play it. I was always on board because I've enjoyed every Resident Evil game released since RE7, except the multiplayer games that I didn't play. I have a few RE projects I'm working on as well, and a whole RE marathon planned because it was pretty up there in the poll even though everything was tied. But that's for the future, definitely way after Requiem comes out. But it's definitely the game I'm most excited for, but that could be a side effect of how close we are to release. I just want my boy Leon back already.
I managed to use this game as a jumping off point to get my friends to start playing Resident Evil games, and the funny story about that is, so my friend Hines from Metal Gear Hines has this habit of not playing the games he says he's going to play. He'll take forever. It took him like 2 months to get out of the police station in Resident Evil 2. And then like a day after he actually finally did that, he texts me like, hey, so I think I'm like at the end of Resident Evil 3. So for whatever reason, just one weekend, he was like, I'm going to lock the fuck in and just blaze his way through some of the games. He's sort of back at a point of being stopped in Resident Evil 4, but who knows, by the time I'm recording this, he's probably already beaten 5. Just sort of an anecdote about how sometimes it's happened before. So he did the same thing with Sonic Frontiers. He was playing for the first time a while ago, and he was taking forever to get to the first Titan, which was annoying me because I wanted to talk to him about the Titan fights without spoiling it. So he finally gets to Giganto, we talk about it, and then like a couple of days later, he texts me that he fought Knight, the 3rd Titan, and just I'm like, wait, Knight? You fought Knight already? What happened? You were going at a snail's pace this whole time, and now you're done with the 3rd island, and you can go to the asset flip island that you can literally see Kronos Island from. So, yeah, he could be anywhere in the Resident Evil franchise by now. We'll never know until I text him and he says he's been hard stuck Marvel Rivals because he got super into it again.
In March, I'm excited for the new Scott Pilgrim game. I bought the collector's edition of the last game back when they re-released it a few years ago, and somehow I did that and then still thought it was a good idea to pre-order the one for Sonic X Shadow Generations after that. Fuck limited run games. I'm definitely looking forward to this release, but it's one that's likely going to fall into my backlog because I'm not like on the edge of my seat waiting. I really liked the first game, I'm super nostalgic for it, but that's kind of where it all is I'm nostalgic for the first game. I'm not necessarily a super mega fan of it. You know, all my memories of it are what keeps it there, and these clips I found on this old Twitch page from when my friend Jeffrey used to stream.
He's guarding the door, I can't go in.
You have to know the password.
There's that game Mouse PI for Hire. It's one of those games that I kind of just like saw on Twitter one day, and I've been following it for a while because I saw it. I was like, this looks cool, I'm gonna play it when it comes out, and it's been like a couple of years of waiting for it to come out, so it's very nice to see that it wasn't for nothing that it is coming out, though I'm not sure if I'm actually going to play it on release day because that's just how things kind of go.
April is another month I'm super excited for because that's when we're getting the new Tomodachi Life. I love the original Tomodachi Life. If you want a good idea what this game is about, I recommend watching this. It's not really a playthrough, but the videos by Vash12349 from like 2014, it's what sold me on the game as a kid. This game is full of charm as you help your islanders with their problems and they pay you for giving them a bath.
I've had my original Tomodachi Life Island for like 10 years. I love this game so much. I've been waiting for just a follow-up or re-release, anything for this game for so long. I'm so excited. I didn't even watch the Tomodachi Life Direct because I want to go in as blind as possible and experience this whole game brand new.
But I still got the important parts. For one, apparently this clown fucker has insane pull, but also, you can make the Mii's gay. That was a huge thing missing from the original, and the devs expressed that it was an oversight they'd correct if they ever made a sequel or future release of this game.
I was admittedly a little afraid that they weren't going to stay true to this because of the way the world is right now, but nope, Nintendo went full woke mode and included non-binary as an option as well, meaning I can finally make a blue-haired Joker and call them the Woker. This is the only game that comes even close to being as anticipated for me as Resident Evil Requiem. It probably even is more so because I've been playing Tomodachi Life way longer than I've been playing Resident Evil games. And look, I love Leon, but in Tomodachi Life, I can actually love Leon. So, like, who knows?
May, despite being a pretty light month in terms of volume, has a fairly stacked lineup for me at least. Obviously, I'm a little curious about Bubsy 4D. I don't need to tell you about Bubsy, everyone knows who he is at this point, and his last comeback didn't succeed on cashing on the irony of reviving a universally hated franchise. But this one looks fairly good at least. I mean, I like 3D platformers, but it's likely going to get overshadowed by the other games I'm going to be playing this month.
While I'm not a James Bond fan by any means, I've never watched a single Bond movie. The most experience I have with James Bond is in middle school. There was someone I knew who was so convinced that the actor's name was Dennis Craig and not Daniel Craig. I don't know why that sticks out to me so much, but I am looking forward to 007 First Light, mainly because it's made by IOI Studio. I don't even know if studio's in the name. It's made by IO Interactive, and they make the Hitman games. And I love Hitman games. When Hitman World of Assassination was released on Switch 2, I bought it and I put like 100 hours into it immediately. I'm not joking, I got super into Hitman because of the Switch 2 version. I'm very glad they're letting me move it to a different console so I don't only have to play it on Switch 2, which I should probably do because I bought the 25th anniversary version on PS5 and then realized I can't transfer my save data. Why did I do this? Because they gave me a little fucking card and a little fucking Hitman.
But the main event for me is definitely going to be LEGO Batman. I haven't been into LEGO games for a while now. I think The Hobbit was the last one that my dad bought way back in the day. But I've recently been going through and completing some of the older ones, and this announcement is what inspired me to go back and 100% the original LEGO Batman. And I know my friend Heinz is the most excited about this. He loves LEGO Batman. He's been waiting for this moment for ages.
The list I found of upcoming games this year then kind of just doesn't have any more games listed with specific dates, probably because, you know, a lot of games are just slated for this year and not actually confirmed to have a month or date. The last one was Phantom Blade Zero, which is a game that, like Mouse, I told myself I'd follow and buy, but that was when it was revealed during the PS5 showcase, like the very first one back in 2020, and it's been so long that I just don't care anymore. I mean, like, sure, I do still think it looks cool, but like that, I was like 16 when that came out. I'm 22 right now. I'm not as interested as I was back then, admittedly. I have so many other action games I could choose from, and I'll probably just replay DMC3 again.
A game without a date that I'm really looking forward to is Onimusha Way of the Sword. I love the first Onimusha. God, I'm just a Capcom bitch, aren't I? But I was excited to see this get announced. I've been meaning to get to the rest of the series. I played a little bit of 2 when that got re-released, but I got stuck and it made me so mad I never touched it again. But still, I love Onimusha, so seeing a new game is very exciting for me. Wolverine is supposed to be coming out this year, and that should be fun. Insomniac is very consistent and will at least release a game that is fun to play, so even if the game ends with Logan putting on his anti-Sabretooth suit for a final boss that feels rushed, at least the journey will still have been fun.
A couple smaller things I'm looking forward to, the Switch 2 version of Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Mainly because I still don't fully know what it entails. Every time they show it, it feels like they're leaving something out. Because obviously there's the multiplayer stuff, which, like, okay, that's neat, I guess. I'm not super into that. But, like, they showed, like, oh, there's more levels. They showed in the last, like, trailer, they showed that flower costume. I don't remember if they showed, like, if that's part of a new level, or same thing with the Koopalings, like if they're part of a new level or they're just like Nabbit and U in New Super Mario Bros. U, where they just go to an old level and like change things up a bit and you have to chase them. Either way, I've been meaning to replay that game for a good while now, so an excuse to go back to it. I'm not going to turn that down, but I'm still confused on what this whole thing is, if it's just the multiplayer or if there is a little bit more outside, and how much more outside of the multiplayer is there really going to be to like sink my teeth into, because it's not just Rosalina, it's just not going to be enough. I love Rosalina, but it'd be a weird selling point for the Switch 2 version if it was like, here's these new multiplayer things, and for single player stuff, here's Rosalina, when they could just add Rosalina separately. For those of you not interested in Tomodachi Life, April still has you covered with the release of I Am Jesus Christ. So while I'm, fucking around on my island with me's of myself, friends, fictional characters, and a me of Jesus Christ, you can experience the true story of Jesus Christ. And I can't finish this joke because I was either going to give an exact day or a price, and I don't think either of those have been determined yet. GTA 6 is supposed to drop this year. I know I'm probably alone in this, but like I really don't care anymore. I'm not like a super GTA fan, but there's just something about this I just have lost the real interest in what a GTA 6 would be. And that's even well before the delays and stuff, just kind of the idea of it. I don't think, because Red Dead 2 is still a great game, but I think some of the ways in which that game strived for realism, while very impressive, made the game less fun for me to play, and I just couldn't get into it. And I don't know if they're gonna do that with GTA 6. I truly don't know. Part of me thinks maybe because of how many times it's been delayed, if they have that many realistic mechanics, that would take a long time to make. But also just my faith isn't shaken because it's taking a while, because sometimes games just take a while. The part that worries me is the fact that it's specifically being delayed, meaning that they're not confident in what they have, or they're not as confident as they were when they set a date. And that could just be that they're too eager to try to release it, but ironically, delaying the game makes it look like it might end up being more rushed, because now you have the thing of, we keep pushing it back, we can't keep doing that, when if they had just not given us a date until they were ready, even if it took a while, it would have been like, okay, well, they definitely knew what they were doing. I hope I'm wrong, mainly because of how many people are looking forward to this, and it could be a situation like Zelda where it's being delayed because they keep coming up with things, adding things, or there's like things they just want to polish a whole lot more than they thought they would need to. Maybe a new mechanic or a physics thing that's super integral to gameplay. I can't imagine how long it would have taken to polish the fuse mechanic in Tears of the Kingdom. So it could very well be something like that there's just a thing that they need to be as polished as possible, or even that they just want to be as polished as possible so that they can release a full thing. And even though it might be in a fine state now, they want to make it as good as it can possibly be so that there's no compromise. And if that's the case, then I respect that. Slay the Spire 2 is supposed to come out this year. My friend Karin really wants me to play the first one, but as someone with 200 hours in Balatro, a game that is a terrible game made by terrible people, it's a moral failing to have made that game on the developer's part because it's evil. I'm afraid of the person I would become if I did really get into Slay the Spire, so I'm a little bit hesitant, but I already bought it, so it's only a matter of time. And hopefully it's before the second one comes out. I don't think there's a date yet, so maybe seeing a release date will be what pushes me to like full commit to playing Slay the Spire 1 and losing my soul even more than I have from playing so much fucking Balatro.
I have a couple friends that are looking forward to Persona 4, which is supposedly coming out this year. Marvel Tokon Fighting Spirits, Blood of Dawnwalker, a bunch of games that are going to be dogshit industry plants because I personally am not interested in them. And my friends have horrible taste, which I know because they willingly hang out with me. I recorded all of that video before the State of Play was even announced, so I'm just going to go through this article and add some of the things I'm looking forward to that were revealed yesterday as of the time we were recording this. The big one is that new God of War game, Sons of Sparta. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I do have it downloaded, but that's super cool. That Kena game, I was meaning to play the first one. It's again sort of like Phantom Blade, where it was part of that initial PlayStation showcase, and then when I got my PS5, I just never really got around to it. Huge news, a new Castlevania game. We've been in such a rut with Konami until like the 2020s where they just kind of forgot that they made games. So it is really cool to see that they do remember about Castlevania and they're not just going to be the Metal Gear and Silent Hill company. Legacy of Kain Defiance Remastered was a pretty huge thing for me because I was kind of afraid that the Soul Reaver remasters were just gonna be like a one and done, like here's Soul Reaver, here's like the ports, and then just nothing else ever again. So it is really, really exciting to see Defiance being remastered because I think Defiance definitely had the most potential out of the Legacy of Kain games. There's a couple things, like if they just fix the how long it takes to kill certain enemies, I think this could be a really good game. This has a whole lot of potential. I'm really excited for it. I have heard that the comics sucked. the Kickstarter Legacy of Kain comic was kind of bad. I think it was The Dead Shall Rise. But I'm not going to use that as an indication as to if I should still be excited for the series, because even if the remaster is a little underwhelming, it still has a bunch of this history stuff that comes with it. They said they even had a playable demo for the canceled follow-up to Defiance, so I'm really excited for this because I really like Defiance, and I never beat it, so it's a great opportunity for me to do that. Also, there was just another Legacy of Kain announcement that I somehow completely missed, and like, holy shit, this game looks so good. The Metal Gear Master Collection Volume 2, obviously it's super exciting that Metal Gear Solid 4 is being freed from the prison of the PlayStation 3, but kind of the sleeper thing that I'm excited for is if they're going to retain the online multiplayer and co-op for Peace Walker. I think that was a thing in the PS3 version, so if they do what they did with the last Master Collection and just bring the PS3 versions, it would be really nice to be able to play Peace Walker with friends. I mean, co-op Metal Gear is such a no-brainer idea that I'm really surprised that it's not really a thing. But, I love Metal Gear Solid 4. I enjoy aspects of Peace Walker. So I'm sure, it's an exciting thing to preserve these games in any form. I do kind of wish there was like a third game in the package, but, whatever.
Anyway, I just wanted to sort of make this as a video to, for one, give myself a reason to actually like look through all the games that are coming out this year, because it can be easy to forget what actually has confirmed dates or, what is coming out. There's conversations I've forgotten about. 007, Lego Batman. There's just so many games come out and so many old games that you get caught up into that it's easy to forget what new stuff is coming. So I kind of wanted to just talk about that, get my hopes out there of the games I'm really looking forward to, and hear what games you're looking forward to. Let me know if there's anything you're looking forward to, or any old games that you're getting off your backlog this year that you really want to do, or just old games that you want to try for the first time. Are you also getting into Resident Evil because of Requiem? Who knows? Let me know. Anyway, I hope you have a great day, a beautiful morning, an awesome night. If it is your birthday, then happy birthday, and I'll see you next time. Take care.